In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a Works Cited page. I will also explain first what it is, and at the end I'll show you a couple of examples. So first, what is a Works Cited page? Well, it's a list of the full bibliographic details of all of the sources that you cited in your paper. So it's basically a list of the works that you have cited, thus it is a Works Cited page. On a side note, if you put something on your Works Cited page, but it is not in your paper, you have basically lied to me. You said that you cited it, but you did not. So make sure that everything cited in your paper is on your Works Cited page, but that you also don't have extra stuff on your Works Cited page that is not in your paper. That is also a lie. It is not a list of research that you did not include in your paper. I know that you do a lot of outside research for your paper just to gather information for yourself, but none of that goes on the Works Cited page unless you cited it in your paper. There is something called a list of works consulted, but that is very different and not something that you will ever likely have to worry about. So here's the basic format of a Works Cited page, and those beautiful red arrows that took me an embarrassingly long time will all be pointing to some information here in a moment. But according to MLA format, a Works Cited page needs to be Times New Roman size 12 font, double spaced, and the phrase Works Cited is centered at the top. It is not in size 56 font, nor is it in bold, or underlined, or italicized, or anything else that calls it out as anything special. The words Works Cited are nothing special. It's just a teeny little title. So first, your last name will still be on the top of this page. It will be at the end of your paper, so every page in your paper should have your last name on it. This will also include the running page count. Now this is a sample, as you can tell, so it will at least be page 2, if not 3 or 4 or more. But the page count needs to be there as well. Also, you need to do the opposite of what normal paragraphs do. Normal paragraphs are indented about an inch, and then the rest of the paragraph is all way far to the left. This is the exact opposite. The first part of a Works Cited entry needs to be left justified. Every line beneath that is connected to that entry is indented. So this is what it looks like. I've got another example for you here in a moment. Ta-da! Example. A few things I want you to take notice of. This is a beautiful example of a Works Cited page. You can see how easy it is to see what information belongs to which source. First of all, please note that the title is nothing special. It's size 12, it's not bold, it doesn't yell at me, nothing. It's just right there. Works Cited. It's very polite. Also, only the first line is not indented. Please excuse the grammar, but I did not know how else to say that extremely clearly. That line sticks out to the far left. Wherever the cursor begins on a line is where you begin the Works Cited entry. So each part of the entry that goes onto the subsequent lines, such as this one and this one, are indented. Please excuse the word each for not being capitalized. I will fire my editor. So this is very easy to read. You can skim down this and see how many sources there are and what information belongs to each source. If every line in this Works Cited page was way off to the left, you would go blind trying to figure it out. This is why I wear reading glasses. Also, please notice that every entry is in alphabetical order. In the first example, Dean, Cornelia, is closer to the top of the alphabet with the letter D. Underneath that is Ebert, and then M, N, and I'll talk about those lines again, and then U. Alphabetical order. So this symbol right there, you'll see this sometimes, and you might even use it, but this basically means ditto. It means that the same author who wrote the article above it also wrote this one. You do not need to repeat the author's name. unless they are two different people. If in your paper you have somebody named John Smith who wrote a fascinating article, and then you have another different John Smith who wrote another different fascinating article, then yes, you will list them separately. And then in your paper, you will be very clear which John Smith wrote which article. Authors. Spooky. So be aware that the internet is basically written by ghosts and angels. It's amazing how much information on the internet that is legitimate does not associate itself with a person's name. Do not take special interest with this, because if there is no author, that does not mean that you use anonymous as the author. A person who wishes to remain anonymous is something entirely different. If something says anonymous, it is the wish of the author to remain anonymous. If there is no author, that means it was written by a ghost or an angel or something, and you just use the article's title as the author's name in your paper, as you would. For example, this source right here, in a beautiful works cited entry, starts with the title of an article, Historical Census Browser. This one has no author attributed to it, so I do not write the word anonymous in front of it, trying to create an author. Do not create an author. Ghosts and angels wish to be invisible, as they usually are. So let them be. Your works cited page will be arranged alphabetically. So I have a list showing up on the left here in just a moment of sources that start with either an article's name or an author's name. So in what order would you arrange this following list? Now, the only information you really need to be concerned about for this is the very first part of the entry. In this case, Historical Census Browser, Baker, Gladys, and Morrill Land Grant Act of 1862. So according to this, going way back to first grade, which source would be the very first one on your alphabetical list? Well done, Baker Gladys. B comes before most other letters in the alphabet. The next one in that case would be, yes, Historical Census Browser. Well done. I heard you screaming it at your computer. And then, of course, the last one is Morrill Land Grant. This is an easy exercise, yes, but I correct this in papers all the time. Please take the extra few minutes to arrange them alphabetically. It shows that you have taken care with your paper, that you have looked at your sources carefully, and that you also have cited everything as closely as you could. So here's a few other things. There's a specific way to cite almost every kind of source, even a PDF document or a tweet or a Facebook or a professor's syllabus. So if you aren't sure, then look it up. It is in your book, and I will have resources linked below this, but you can also do the poor man's Google. If you find something on YouTube, then you could also Google how to cite YouTube in MLA. You have the world's information at your fingertips. You will eventually start to see a pattern, and this will become very easy, I promise. Just make sure that everything in your works cited page is also in your essay. I included this with other stuff because I get this as a problem all the time as I grade. There's an extra source on the essay that wasn't cited in the paper, and that's an oops. So just take the 5 minutes to double check. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.